We should be good to go. Okay, cool. Hey everyone, I am Chris Verson. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Sales Message, and I'm excited. We're actually going to be diving into a lot of the nitty-gritty details, case studies, workflows, and really show you how to implement text messaging and SMS inside of HubSpot specifically. Now, a lot of the workflows, a lot of the stuff, the concepts we'll talk about today are universal. So maybe you don't use HubSpot, maybe use another tool, but a lot of the concepts we'll talk will, relay over to any platform that you're using. However, we're going to dive into how a lot of this stuff works over on HubSpot. So the headline for this is we're going to dive into the 7 must-have SMS HubSpot workflows. These are proven to help you attract, convert, and delight your customers. So if you are familiar with the HubSpot model, they talk about attracting, converting, engaging, and delighting your customers, everything on Sales Hub, Marketing Hub, Service Hub, Operations Hub. We're going to dive into and show you exactly how you can use SMS across all those different teams, across all those different hubs, how it integrates directly into that. And more importantly is like what workflows actually tie directly into each part of this overall life cycle. So let's get started. I am here. Again, I'm Chris Verson, the co-founder and CEO of Sales Message. I'm here with Grace O'Hara. She's in San Diego. I'm in Delray Beach, South Florida. And she is going to be my wing woman as we sort of navigate this workshop. Also, Ben is on our customer success team. He is here as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop it into Q&A. For whatever reason, the Q&A or the questions in chat is not coming through. But if you have any question, go ahead and post it in Q&A and our team will take care of that. We're also going to open up questions towards the end because I really want to dive in and share with everybody these workflows. So before we get started, Grace, if you want to just quickly introduce yourself and we can get with it.
Yeah. Hey everyone, I'm Grace. I'm a strategic account executive at Sales Message. I work daily with businesses, brands, just like yourself. So I truly see what works and what doesn't. And I'm super excited to dive into it today and help everyone get best set up for success.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you, Grace. All right. So just a little bit of background and why you should listen to me, and more importantly, like why you should listen to us over at Sales Message. So just a little bit of background. I've been in the text messaging space for more than a decade. I actually started a company called Call Loop back in 2009, which does calling, it does texting. And so Sales Message is sort of our better baby, if you will. We learned a lot, into messaging, and so Sales Message has been this sort of newer, more upgraded platform. But we've sent billions and billions of text messages, which really gives us access to know what works, what doesn't work. Seeing different campaigns, seeing how different customers are using it, which ones are successful, which ones are not successful, and why. And we've learned so much that in this workshop here, we're going to reveal and just share some of the best practices. So if you've never gotten started with text messaging, maybe you've thought about it and you've held off, maybe you wanted to do it years ago and never got started. My goal is to really show you how you can use messaging in your business, and more importantly, why you should start right now. So we've worked with amazing brands, all types of small companies, big companies, large companies, you name it. We've seen it all. And so that just, again, gives us the ability to know what works, what doesn't work, that we can pass down to you and sort of help you navigate and shortcut your success with SMS. So if anybody has read this book, it's called The Missing Piece. And so if you're not looking at the screen, take a look at this. I'd love to hear and see if you've actually read this. But I grew up reading this book. I think it was in the 60s or 70s that this came out. It's called The Missing Piece. And the idea with this is, and actually I read this to my kids, they love it too. But the idea with this book is it's this Pac-Man that goes on a journey, and along the way, he finds pieces. And so pieces that are too big, pieces that are too small, pieces that are too sharp, pieces that just won't fit. And then ultimately at the end, he finds the missing piece and he's complete, he's whole, he's complete. And that is like the piece. And so the idea with this and throughout this presentation is I want to share with you that I think we can show you the missing piece is SMS. And so we've just heard time and time and time again of companies sort of banging their head against the wall, and SMS has sort of become that missing piece for their business. So maybe you're struggling with lead generation or lead engagement, or having people show up for a webinar or a demo or a presentation. SMS is really that missing piece. And so it's my goal to help you dive into that. So what are the goals for today? Well, one is I'm going to show you what you must know about SMS before getting started. So if you have never done SMS, again, maybe you've thought about it, but you're just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to implement it. And then you move on. I'm going to share with you what you must know, right? There's a couple different things that you should know about SMS before getting started. And then once you understand that, then you can start to implement that, the right way. There's the right way, and then there's the wrong way that can one, get you in trouble, and then two is not get your messages delivered. So I'm going to share with you that. Number two is how to use the Textize Your Business framework. And this is sort of our methodology on how we think about messaging in the world and in the market, and to see where SMS can have the greatest impact in your business. There's a lot of different ways that you can use text messaging, but the reality is there's parts of texting that you can deploy today to see the greatest impact. We're going to share some of those stories. Grace talks to customers all the time. Ben talks to customers all the time. And by just adding one little thing, they're able to unlock a whole new opportunity, a whole new revenue stream, just by adding texting here, right? And so we're going to reveal that. And then you get to decide, hey, this is the best place to start adding SMS. And then number three is we're going to dive into the actual workflows. So the 7 must-have SMS workflows and how to implement these in your business starting today. Like, this isn't something you can do next week or next month or next quarter or next year, but it's so simple that once you see how it's built, you can then decide, hey, let's implement this today. Let's start to do that one tomorrow. And let's just see how this all works, right? Again, whether it's generating leads, driving reviews, generating revenue, increasing attendance, decreasing no-shows, we'll show you how to do that. And so we'll dive into those. All right. So just want to start off with a case study and really a testimonial. This is Dan Martell. Dan Martell runs a coaching group. It's called SaaS Academy. He is basically the #1 coach for SaaS entrepreneurs, software as a service entrepreneurs. And they implemented SMS, and more importantly, they implemented sales message. And so their headline here is, SMS has generated about 90,000 in additional business each month. That's additional over and above, right? So it's just found money. They just added SMS, and then what do you know? They added $90,000 in additional revenue. Kind of cool. But also, some of these bullet points is they decreased no-shows by 20%, right? It became critical in their follow-up process. They saw an uptick in conversion rates on follow-up, right? They added automation across their team, their sales team, their marketing team, their support team, their operations, right? They added it across all that and automated SMS. And then more importantly, it's like their team doesn't have to use their own phone. So like maybe you're texting from your phone, using your thumbs all day, and then your team members are using their thumbs and texting from their personal phones all day. You can not do that anymore, right? You can sort of build it, you can automate it, you can operationalize that and have it all live inside of HubSpot. And we'll dive into that. So here's one of the philosophies we have over here. And we believe that conversations are good for business, right? And the reality is the more conversations you can have, well, the more, demos you can book, the more customer success conversations you can have. Maybe getting feedback from somebody. So like, how do you engage and create conversations? The challenge is it's actually getting a lot harder to have conversations because there's really two sort of main channels, main ways that we roll, right? Which is a phone call or an email. But like each channel, they all have their own challenges. And so maybe this is you. And so take a look at this screenshot here, right? And so it shows my phone. This is a screenshot I took, and I get calls all the time. And maybe this is your phone too. Scam likely, silence call, unknown numbers I don't know. Maybe they call you 2-3 times a day or every day for that matter. And they're not bill collectors. I totally promise you that. But they're just phone calls, right? They're coming through and it's annoying. And so just some of the stats is 84% don't answer calls from unknown numbers. That's probably you. 74% won't listen to the voicemails. 95% won't respond to it. So maybe you call voicemail and you get, hey, don't leave me a voicemail, just text me. This person's voicemail inbox is full. This person doesn't have their inbox even set up. Why? Voicemail is sort of like dead in a sense. And so, if calling is the only channel that you're actively communicating with people, one, your calls actually may come through as scam likely. And there's a way to solve that. And I'll show you that. But also phone may not be the best way. It's not the best way to get in touch with me. If I get a text, I will reply on my time, which is a whole other thing, right? We look at email, my email's flooded, your email's probably flooded. Everybody's inboxes are very busy. Maybe your email's going to spam because it wasn't set up right? Declining open rates, declining response rates. And even if they do open, that doesn't necessarily mean that they'll actually reply. And so, quote unquote, it's not what it used to be. And so the idea here is, cool, if we can generate more conversations, right, for your team, or whether that's a response, right, that's a click, that's, driving somebody to a web page, well, that's going to generate more growth, more sales, better NPS scores, like better engagement, right, which ultimately will grow your business. And so how can you increase your response rates? I like to call it tiny text messages, right? Some people will send a whole ebook in a text. That's not going to work, right? Like email is different than texting. And so tiny, super small text messages work really well. Like that's how you drive engagement. You can ask a question and get a response, right? So like just being normal with text messaging, you'll get your greatest response through that. And so if we
one
just
thing
look
to add there, Chris, is just from talking to businesses daily, I mean, their goal with SMS, there's usually an action attached to it. Whether it be, scheduling a demo or a reminder for a meeting. The point of this messaging is that, the world has changed. We're not always in front of our computer. Maybe you're running out and grabbing a coffee, you get a text reminder that you have a demo in 20 minutes. It's just a way for you to be in front of your customers or your prospects, leads, anyone more frequently and just easily accessibly.
Yep. Cool. Thank you, Grace. And so, we have this old way, right, which we just sort of talked about. And then you have the new way, right? Like 98% engagement or open rate, instant engagement, measurable and effective. And so you go from days and weeks to like getting a response or none at all to literally seconds or minutes, right? And maybe you personally just text somebody and immediately you get a response, right? Like that's actually the impetus on why we created Sales Message in the first place, is because we were doing that. We were calling, we were emailing. And then I'm like, let me just start texting people. And then what do you know? People actually responded. So maybe you've seen that in your own business. And so that is the way. And so what I like to talk about here is sort of going back to that original idea of what's the missing piece. And you got 3 channels. You got calling, you got email, and you got SMS. Sure, there's Facebook Messenger. Sure, there's WhatsApp. Sure, there's direct mail. Sure, there's all these other things. But SMS, calling, and email are the 3 ways that you're gonna go to. I'm not going to send a random Facebook message. I'm definitely not going to send a random WhatsApp message, right? So SMS is the other channel, is really the only channel to connect in real time. And with such an amazing response rate, it only makes sense to really dive into that. So why add SMS? I'm going to breeze through this. A lot of the stuff we sort of talked about, I want to get to the meat of this presentation, but everyone on the planet can text, right? 98, 99% open rates, low friction, it's passive. So I can reply to the text or I cannot, versus interruptive getting calls. Everyone's attached to their phone. It's not owned by Google. It's not owned by Facebook, right? And you can use this in automations. You can use it in follow-ups with existing, messaging, existing marketing. The world is moving towards multi-channel, omni-channel. It's sort of a must today, right? You can use texting to initiate one-to-one conversations or mass text messaging. And more importantly is like, it's not a replacement, but it's an addition to what you're already doing, right? So if you're already doing email, you're already doing calls, you're already doing, some of these other methods, SMS is just the easy sort of addition that's going to further enhance your overall omni-channel approach or messaging channel approach. And so I get this question all the time, is like, hey, I've got a list and I want to like send a message to them. And the reality is, SMS, like any other sort of tool out there, is somewhat regulated. And you can't just start sending mass text messages. Why? Because it's considered spam. And so the best time to get started with messaging was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, last month, right? But the next best time is today. And so if you're on the fence, you're not doing any sort of messaging, I would encourage you and sort of emphasize like to get started today, to start to engage over SMS, start building that list, because you're going to look back in 6 months and wish you would have done it. But if you start today and what we're going to show, you'll be a step ahead of your competition that's not. So let's get to it. So what must you know about SMS before getting started? Well, number one is deliverability is critical to your success, right? And similar to email, if you send an email, well, first you got to get it delivered, right? In order to get it opened, and then in order for it to even get clicked. So if it doesn't get delivered to the inbox, well, did the tree ever fall, right? And the answer is no, like you don't know. And so that goes the same for SMS. Now, there's been some new sort of updates. SMS has been changing drastically over the last year, within the last couple of months. It's been changing so much. We've been fortunately able to stay abreast of all the changes. So I'm going to talk about what's called A2P 10DLC. Don't worry about the acronym. I'm going to get into that. And toll-free verification, AKA like, what do I need to set up to authenticate me to send text messages to US traffic? Number two is, what number should I choose for my use case, right? I've got a short code. Should I use a landline number? Should I use a toll-free number? Should I use a local number? And similar to like, if you're going to send email through MailChimp, that's like mass messaging or mass emailing, but you can't really do that on Gmail. And so like, there's different platforms to use based on the use case. We'll dive into that. And then number three, you're already a pro. So like, there's nothing to learn. Except, hey, how do I set this up? What's some of the right messaging to use? But there's not like you need to study a course on how to write copy, right? Like it's very, very, very simple. So the first one here, deliverability. We sort of talked about this, but the power of SMS. This is where, whatever that saying is, when you have a powerful force, like you have to treat it wisely. You don't want to abuse the power. And so average open rate, 98%, 90% open it within the first 15 minutes, right? Like that's sort of crazy. But then also a 45% average response rate. Response could be a reply, it could be a click, right? Whatever that response is, but that's pretty amazing. And so like sort of I mentioned before, but messaging isn't a nice to have, but it really is a prerequisite for success. But here's the big problem from the carrier's perspective. Is unwanted messages decrease trust, right? So like the same way that you get those phone calls and you're like, gosh, I'm just not picking up my phone. In fact, I don't even pick up my phone anymore, right? And so what happened is that channel got deteriorated so much that consumers lost trust in picking up phone calls, right? And so they don't want that to happen to SMS. And so they had to set up some regulation, and that's called A2P 10DLC. And so where do unwanted messages come from? Well, they come from short codes, shared short codes, right? Maybe you've had a shared short code from another platform. They come from toll-free numbers, some local numbers. And the truth is anybody can get a new number. And then the carriers are like, oh, who has that number? And wait, they're starting to send mass text messages and spam messages. Who are they? I don't even know who they are. I don't know. Let's shut down the number. And so what they set up is this A2P 10DLC, and now a new one called toll-free verification. And basically the carriers want to know, hey, look, we want to let businesses text message, but if they just start buying numbers and we don't know who they are, that's not a good thing. Like we need to know who the business is. And more importantly, like what types of messages are they sending? Are they legit? Or are they just somebody that's like got a number and now they're mass texting? And so A2P is application to person. So like sales messages and application sending text messages. There's other platforms that are A2P, right? P2P is like me actually sending a text from my own phone. And then 10DLC just stands for 10-digit long code, AKA a toll-free number or a local number, right? So basically, this is sort of the name of it. And let me just sort of break it down on what this means, right? I've sort of mentioned a little bit of email, but if you look at email, you've got Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, all these different platforms, email platforms that you can send email and receive email, right? Like they have to control the ability to send email, but also the ability to filter email. So it goes to the inbox or it goes to the spam inbox. Like they had to sort of regulate that. And so, well, the carriers are no different, right? Like you're sending and receiving calls, you're sending and receiving text messages. And so before, they didn't really have any filters or any sort of blacklisting or anything set up. So it was the Wild West. But because SMS is so powerful, right? Every business needs to do it. They had to set up a lot of this regulation around it and a lot of this systemization or operation around it. So when you look at email, right, you've got your ESPs. If you look at SMS, you got your carriers, right? Your T-Mobiles and your AT&Ts. On email, you've got spam and blacklisting. And now the carriers have filtering and blacklisting. And maybe you've sent text messages before and you're like, my messages are getting filtered. They're getting blacklisted. My number got, destroyed and I can't use it anymore. And so, the carriers are smart. They're getting a lot smarter. And so unsubscribes, the same thing with SMS. People can opt out, right? You have canned spam, which is the regulatory over email. Well, you have TCPA, CTIA, right? These regulatory bodies that override messaging as a whole, right? The legal perspective of it. You've got DKIM and SPF records, which is the authentication in order to get your emails delivered, right? If you just bought a domain name yesterday and start sending mass emails through it, Google's like, yeah, dude, come on. Like you just bought it yesterday. You can't just start sending mass emails. So we're going to throw you in the spam inbox. Well, you got to set up DKIM, SPF, DMARC, all these different things in order to tell Google like, hey, look, we're actually legit, I swear. Well, the carriers have done the same thing, and that's just called 10DLC and toll-free verification, which is, hey, T-Mobile, AT&T, we're a real company. You can deliver our messages, right? So
yeah, I can't emphasize enough, honestly, how important it is to have that. It's daily. I get, businesses coming to us saying we're getting shut down for deliverability or speed's not up to date. And I ask them like, hey, like, do you have 10DLC? And 9 out of 10 times they have never even heard of it. So it is awesome. It's super easy within our platform to upgrade to 10DLC as well. So we just make it as easy as possible because obviously we don't want you running into this when you come to sell message.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Chris. And we'll dive into parts of this stuff too, but at the end of the day, not to get so technical into the details, but they just want to know, hey, who are you? And then what types of messages are you sending? And there's just a process, a form you fill out, and then we send it to our provider, they send it to the carrier, and then the carrier approves it or denies it, right? Like if somebody from some other country's like, I want to send text messages to, US phone numbers, and they don't have the proper information, they're smart, they're looking that up and they're going like, you're not going to get approved for messaging. And so why do you need to do 10DLC? In fact, everybody needs to do it, but improve deliverability, right? Increase throughput and speed, and then lower costs. And so like if you are messaging in the United States, you have to be registered for this in order to sort of be whitelisted to deliver SMS messages, right? All right, so the next part here is what number type should I use? So we get customers coming in and go, hey, I want to send out 50,000 text messages from a local phone number. The reality is similar to Gmail and MailChimp, right? Or think about just HubSpot. So like you can't send 50,000 emails through sequences, right? But you can send 50,000 emails through workflows. And so there are two different types of use cases. And therefore, there's two different types of numbers you need to send that for that use case. So if you're sending high volume mass text messages, in other words, like I want to send 25,000 or 50,000 or 10,000 messages very quickly, you're going to use a short code or you're going to use a toll-free number, right? Short code is really meant for mass texting, AKA, again, I want to send 100,000 text messages right now. If you're trying to do that on a local number, carrier's going to go, and then block you. That's why you're getting blocked, right? So you can use a toll-free number for two-way conversational SMS, for somewhat mass text messaging. The carriers are still filtering that a little bit. You can go through an approval process that we can help you sort of get approved for that. And then if you look at landline and local, the goal with that is really that's conversational. Now there are certain limits that are placed on a local number on a per day limit, but they limit it, right? On a short code, you could send 1 million messages. There's no limit. On a toll-free number, I don't know if there's a limit, but like they're changing stuff all the time. But on a local number, you have a messaging cap per day, right? Similar to like what Gmail does. You can't send 50,000 Gmail emails, right? They're like, hey, you can only send 500 or 2,000. So this hopefully gives you a good understanding. And so if you think about your use case, hey, I need to do mass texting. Okay, you're gonna have to get a dedicated short code or a toll-free number, or hey, we just need conversational. We can go with a landline or a local number. And when I say landline, we can actually text enable your existing landline. So maybe you've been in business for a long time and you don't have SMS. We can actually turn SMS on that you can use on sales message. So you can keep it with your telecom provider. Calling, everything remains the same. It's just boom, you turn on your landline and now you can get texts and you're like, oh my gosh, people have been trying to text me for like years. And so like it's an aha moment. And truth be told, like there's a ton of opportunity just by doing that one thing. You're already a pro. If you know how to text, this will work for you, right? All right, so let's get into textize your business. And the idea with this is it's very similar to HubSpot's, whether you call it a flywheel, which is sort of a different diagram here, but HubSpot plays a part in the entire life cycle, right? So everything from attract to convert to close to delight, right? Messaging plays a part across that entire life cycle. So you can use text messaging to generate leads from SMS, right? You can use it to engage in real time. You can use it to qualify leads in real time. You can use it to send text messages to drive revenue, right? Like that's a huge opportunity. You can use it to get reviews, to generate surveys, to collect payments. There's so many ways that you can use messaging across the entire life cycle. So the idea with textize your business is you can add messaging across your life cycle to quote unquote textize your entire operation. It's not just for lead gen, but it's actually for all parts of the life cycle. So if we look at this, according to HubSpot, you got attract, engage, delight. So we're going to dive into these workflows. And this is just to give you sort of the idea of like, oh, cool, I can use it to attract. So text to join keywords. Maybe you've seen, hey, text, sales message to 55222, right? That is a way to generate leads. Somebody fills out a web form, you can engage with them right away over SMS. You can use it from chatbots, right? Maybe you're collecting a phone number and they want to capture, maybe they want to speak to somebody over SMS. You can sort of take them off that chatbot channel and move over to SMS. If you're using Facebook lead ads, how you can capture that mobile number and immediately engage with them right away to qualify them. And then I'll show you guys a really cool thing called Text Me. But engaged, right? I can use it for appointment reminders, right? To decrease no-shows, just like Dan did with the 20% increase in that, right? So if you're doing any meetings, demos, webinars, teleseminars, any sort of event, you can use SMS as a way to increase that attendance, decrease that no-show rate, which in turn, if you can do that, you can grow your business, you can generate more revenue, generate more sales. Drip sequence. How do you add SMS in a drip sequence? So if they reply, hey, stop that sequence. Or if they buy something, stop that sequence, right? I'll show you how to do that. How to send mass text messages, right? To drive revenue, lead qualification, promos and offers, right? And then you have sort of this other part of it is delight, right? So how do I generate reviews on autopilot over SMS? How do we get surveys? How do we get feedback from it? How can we use HubSpot tickets to support people over SMS and have it all logged on there? Can we send NPS surveys and CSAT surveys over SMS? And the answer is yes, you can. And so what you'll see here is SMS will play a part in Sales Hub, in Marketing Hub, in Service Hub, and even in Operations Hub. So across the entire platform in HubSpot, you can use SMS inside of all parts of HubSpot. More importantly, sales message in that. So my question to you is, what is your single biggest challenge in your business's life cycle? Is it generating leads? Is it driving appointments and sort of operationalizing and automating that? Is it how can you use it to qualify leads better? So like, just take notes. what would that be? If you want to post that in the Q&A or post it in chat, we'd love to hear that, because that will help sort of steer some of the campaigns we're going to talk about. All right, so we're going to dive into the workflows here. So this is going to be hands-on. You're going to see me, you're going to look over my shoulder, and I'm going to walk through all of these 7 funnels and more. There's actually a couple other bonus ones that I'm going to reveal here. So the 7 must-have SMS workflows. And before we get into that, let me just do sort of a pitch here for Sales Message. And so what is Sales Message? It's a simple, scalable texting and calling platform for HubSpot. So it's a certified app. We have tons of customers in HubSpot that use it, that love it. And so it allows you to, in one click, sort of add SMS in your entire HubSpot ecosystem. I'll show you how to do that. You can do two-way text messaging. You can send SMS marketing campaigns. You can make phone calls. Everything gets logged on the timeline, whether it's a contact or a company or a ticket or a deal, right? So any communication you or your team has, everything gets logged inside of HubSpot, from which you can then actually report on, right? You can automate it from workflows as well. So you can send and receive right from HubSpot. You don't have to leave HubSpot to have these conversations. You can call from HubSpot, so using the calling app, or maybe you use another platform like AirCall. We actually integrate into AirCall. So if you want to use your existing AirCall numbers on top of Sales Message, we can do that. So you get best of breed calling, and then you get best of breed texting. We also have the ability to automate, right, through workflows. So you can create your messages, personalize them, automate them. We're going to dive into all of that. And then most importantly is, custom reports and analytics. So we have analytics in Sales Message, but you can also build custom reports inside of HubSpot. So all the calling data or the text messaging data gets visualized inside of HubSpot. So let's dive in. So the first one I'm going to share with you guys is chatbots. And so, if you think about chatbots, for us, chatbots are a great way to generate leads. If we sort of got rid of a chatbot, man, we would be missing out on a lot of conversations, right? And so when somebody comes to your site, maybe you're using, Intercom or Drift, or if you're using HubSpot's chatbot, you can add SMS as a way to engage. And I'll just show you what this sort of looks like here. So here is this workflow. And if you know HubSpot's workflow system, it's actually really simple. What you're going to see here is not rocket science. So if you're expecting some sort of mind-blowing workflow on how to add SMS, you're not going to find it here. And so I've gone down that path to create these crazy complex workflows and funnels and campaigns with click this and do that. But in reality, what I found is the simple is so much better, so much easier to monitor, to manage, to have somebody else sort of set up as well. And so this simple one here, in fact, I'll just show you what it sort of the preview. Well, let me show you what it looks like here. So it's a simple one. So hey, what would you like to do? Learn about pricing. We're going to get the contact name, and then we're going to get the email address, and then we're going to get their phone number, right? And then we just have a little prompt here is, would you like to follow via SMS with the number, whatever number they put in here, right? And they can say yes, or they can say no, thanks. And if they select yes, well, then we're going to enroll them into a workflow, which will automate a text message. And the reason for a chatbot is, number one, is once they leave their mobile phone or the web page, that conversation is gone. And now it's sort of taken over on email until they come back to the website to engage on a chatbot. However, if they leave their computer or they get out of the browser or whatever it is, because you have their phone number, their mobile phone number, you can continue that conversation over SMS. And so you have sort of this new channel to engage with somebody that has sort of raised their hand. And this is very simple to do. It should take you a couple minutes inside of HubSpot to do it, and just see where you can start to add the ability to, take a conversation over SMS. So they select yes, we're good to go. Otherwise, there it is, right? So we'll go over to this workflow here, and this is it. It's very simple. So the first part here is at least one associated activity, which is conversation by a bot, is equal to true, right? So if that is equal to true, we can even set it to say, hey, you know what, this particular chat bot, when they go through that, let me make sure that it's good to go. And then we can send an SMS. So one of the ways that you can sort of customize and personalize your text is, actually, let me just show you here. So I'll go here, right? So adding sales message, text message is as easy as just typing it in, right? The same way that you would send an email, you can just go here, type in a text, click on that, and then you can craft your entire SMS. So I already have one pre-built. So one of the cool things we do is we basically say, hey, what's the phone number property? Like, where does that phone number exist? Oh, it's phone number. But you can also do a fallback. So for example, maybe, I don't know, did we collect it on mobile number or did we collect it on the phone number? Hey, let's try and send it to the phone number. And then if that doesn't have a number, let's fall back and send it to mobile number. So you can at least, capitalize on sending it to either their phone number or their mobile phone number, because maybe you're collecting on a different property, right? So like that gives you the ability to do it. And then from sales message, again, we have what we call sort of inboxes, and I'll go into sales message in a little bit. But you can just select, hey, I want to send it from a particular inbox or a particular phone number. An inbox is essentially well, let me show you over here. So on sales message, you have all these different inboxes. So an inbox could be one person, right? And one number. So if you have a sort of a sales rep, you want to give an individual number to each person and they're the only ones to manage that inbox, you can do that, right? So like, here's your private phone number. Or let's say you have your customer support team and I've got 10 agents on there. We've got one number and everybody can sort of collaborate on that message. Or I can have 20 numbers and one agent, or 20 numbers and 30 agents. So it's very flexible on how you want to use that. And I'll get into some of the details. But from HubSpot, it's very simple. So I can just say, hey, you know what number do I want to send it from? Oh, well, I want to send it from a short code, or I want to send it from our Denver team, or I want to send it from a specific number. Or we have this idea of what's called a smart inbox. And if you've ever sort of heard of the idea of local presence, that's what a smart inbox gives you the ability to do. And so with calling, have you ever gotten calls from like a 561 number or your local number? Or if you sort of, go to a different state, you get it from a different number. The idea with this is if a lead comes in or a contact comes in and the area code is 561, sales message is going to say, hey, let's send it from a 561 number, or let's send it from a number that we have that's closest to that region. And so it looks local, right? If I got a text from 310, I'm like, man, that's California. Why are they texting me? And so you can create this sort of local message or this local presence on SMS using what we call a smart inbox. And I'll show you what that looks like. But this is a way to choose, hey, what number, or like what specific number do I want to send it from? Or you know what, I want to let sales message determine what number to send it from. And that's a smart inbox. And I'll show you what that is in a minute here. So it just gives you more of a dynamic way to make sure that you have a phone number sort of in the region, a geo match, as you will. And then you can just create your text. So like, hey, first name, hey, whatever token you want to add into HubSpot, sort of pulled up over there for whatever reason. But you can also do a URL. So like if you want to send a picture or a V card, right, a VCF, a GIF, anything you can insert in here. And one is you can actually put just the full URL, like of the actual image, or maybe you actually have a token and you're storing a URL of an image. Well, you can just add it over here. And then if it's on that contact, it'll merge in here. And so you can sort of create dynamic images in a sense. Tags as well. And then if you want to add opt-out message, which, in some cases it's pretty good because you want to add the text stop, reply stop to opt-out or reply stop to end. And so it sort of keeps you in the compliance side. So super simple. And that's it, right? So that's the chatbot one. It's a great workflow. I mean, we use it. We actually use Intercom, but we try and take a lot of conversations over SMS. One of the other cool things too that I think is like an overlooked opportunity is adding your phone number on your website. One of the biggest problems people have is they have a phone number on their website that is not textable. And so if that is you, I encourage you to either A, text enable that phone number on sales message so people can call you and text you. I mean, if you saw the amount of conversations that we get from text coming in, you'd be like, I got to do that right now. Like we get a lot. And so if you have your phone number on your website and there is that call to action of, hey, questions, call us or text us, you'll be surprised with how many people are texting you. And more importantly is try your own number. Can you actually text your phone number that you have on your website? If not, we can text enable it for you, so you can keep that number and add SMS as that channel. So
we also have a feature on Sales Message. It's called Website Chat Widget. It'll basically add a little widget on the side of your domain page. It says text in now. You can customize all of the coloring, welcome text, header text. And when someone texts in, yeah, you'll see it right over here. They're also opting in to automated messaging, so you can add them into any workflows that you create. And when they do text in, it will just text into whoever on your team is assigned that phone number, and they can just start having a one-on-one conversation there.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is like, if you don't want to use HubSpot's chat bot and you just want to have like this little widget, we provide that. And again, super simple, it takes 2 seconds to embed that on your site. Okay, cool. So the next one we're going to go through is text to join keywords. And so we're going to dive into that, and I'll show you what a text to join keyword is, which it's actually really simple. And the idea with this is you've probably seen it, right? Hey, text love to 55222 or 555, whatever. Text this keyword to this particular number. So we have this feature built into Sales Message. So you can create a keyword, right? In fact, I'll just go to the one here. So this is the keyword love, right? And so here's this text. So when somebody texts in the keyword love to this phone number or this phone number or that phone number, right? They're going to get added to Sales Message, and then they're going to get this autoresponder, and then we're also going to tag them. So, hey, you know what? We know exactly who texted in that keyword just by looking up that tag. We can filter it. We can segment that. We can actually create automations and broadcast them. So keywords is a great way to, again, generate leads from SMS. Now, the cool thing about this too is with our integration with HubSpot, any of those contacts that come in actually get added to HubSpot automatically. So if you think about that from a lead gen perspective, maybe you have a billboard or a sign, or maybe you're speaking, you say, hey, and you've seen this strategy, but hey, text love to this phone number and get this free download or whatever it is, right? Once they text that in, then you can then automate an S will create a contact inside of HubSpot, which you can then trigger workflow, right? And so let me show you what that looks like. So once you set it up with Sales Message, right, you create the keyword, you set it up on the phone number, and then you can set up the workflow. So this one is, at least one SMS received, right? And the message body starts with love, and the phone number contains 2289, right? Now, granted, this is this phone number 2289, so I can just put contains. And so cool, that's the trigger that they're going to then get enrolled into the workflow. Now, one cool thing you can do with Sales Message is you can rotate leads. You can send texts as a lead owner or the HubSpot contact owner or deal owner or ticket owner or whatever it is. And so just using this rotate contacts, right? Hey, you know what? Let's send an email notification to the contact owner, letting them know, hey, there's a new lead that came through, a new workflow of folks. But then let's add them to a list, right? So again, they text in that keyword, they go through this workflow, we're round robining it to the team. We're going to create that separate list. And now we've got this list of people that we know have sort of texted in, right? Now, granted, you can even continue that. And if you want to capture an email address, right, you can send a message, capture an email, push that back to HubSpot, and then, send an email and those sorts. So that is text to join. And before I continue on, I just want to double check and see if there's any questions. So tags, cool. All right, well, I'm going to continue on.
Q&A area.
Yeah, cool. All right, so let's get to the next one here, which is this whole text me idea. And so these are just some really great ways to use a phone number as a way to generate leads, right? As a way to generate engagement. And so you've probably seen it from Gary Vee. This is Joe DeSena. He's the founder of Spartan. And so you've probably seen this over the last couple of years of people having a phone number, right? And you think of like, this is sort of like a social thing. So like, hey, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook. Hey, follow me on text messaging, all right? So this is this whole ecosystem of a text message community, in a way. And so, hey, if you text them, well, then an automated SMS happens. And well, what are you doing? You're collecting a lead. And so what you can do is like, hey, thanks for joining. Click this link to complete your profile, right? And they can quote unquote complete their profile, which is a name, an email, right? And like, all this other information that you want to capture just by having people text in. They click a link, they go to a web form, they fill out that information, and now you can sort of enrich in that lead, if you will, right? It's a great strategy. And so maybe keyword is like, hey, you know what? I don't want to use a keyword. I just want to keep it personal. So like if you're speaking, you'd be like, hey, just shoot me a text message at this number. So they send you a text message like, hey, great presentation. Like, hey, thanks for the message. Complete your profile here to get your free download, right? Whatever it is, you can just link out to a web form they can fill out, and then boom, they can fill that out, and then you can trigger a workflow to send whatever gift that is. So this is another one too. This actually works really well. The headline here is still skeptical, text me, but respect it. It's actually a really great line. But this has proven to be very successful as a channel for on the fence buyers, right? Because they don't think, oh, is someone actually going to respond? So this is my friend Ryan Fletcher, and he gets a ton of questions from people that are skeptical, and they have texting like, hey man, I'm not, whatever it is. But the conversions from this have been quite substantial. And so, if you're looking for a way to sort of open up a channel to engage with some of those folks that have questions, it's a great line. Like, still skeptical, text me your question. And you can start to build out basically responses in what we call saved replies. So like you can just sort of click a button, boom, and you have answers to all the objections that may come through. Awesome strategy. Again, text me. This is a simple one. If you don't have a phone number on your site, I would consider doing it. It's a great channel for just leads, questions, whether it's sales or support. Just a great way to open up that. This is actually pretty cool. So this is Grant Cardone's, one of our customers, and it's called Swipe. You've seen on like Instagram where you can swipe up and then it goes to like a landing page. Well, he did this for SMS. And so I'll play this for you real quick. And if you're not looking, like take a look at the monitor real quick because you want to see this. So if you missed it, it's basically an ad or a story, and it says, hey, swipe up to text us, right? And the idea with this is, well, they're using it, right? So it says, I don't want to tell you about the deal. I want to show you 310 units out. Swipe up to text me. Swipe up, and then boom, it just automatically opens up their SMS app with their sales message phone number. And then in the message body, it shows a pre-filled message, right? So you can, looks like I skipped along, but basically it's the phone number, and then in the message body it says show me the deal, and then all I have to do is click send, and then boom, well, guess what happens? That goes into a HubSpot workflow that gets round robin to their leads, and now their team is texting with a buyer, texting with somebody that's interested, and they can then collect an email, collect a name, right, and then push them through the process. So this is a great simple way to generate conversations, right? Okay, Instagram, you may want to try this one, but Instagram actually gives you a way to add, so they give you a way to add a text phone number in here, right? So you can put call or text. And so if you want to add your sales message phone number as a way for people to text you, it's another unique mechanism, a unique way to allow people to text your phone. All right, so web forms, we went through a little bit of that. Actually, I don't think we did go through web forms, so let's take a look. Web forms, super simple. So I've got a form over here, first name, last name, email, phone, mobile phone, whatever property you're collecting a phone on. And then here's the form. So like, hey, first name, last name, email, phone. You'll want to put some language on your opt-in form, right? And so here's just simple language. By submitting this form, you agree to receive text messages, message and data rates may apply, message frequency may vary, reply stopped, unsubscribe, help for help, right? And so this sort of is the sort of catch-all language around SMS that you'll want to add to a form, maybe even a checkbox, but you want to add this on a form, and you have that there. So let's go back over to a workflow, right? Very simple. Again, like I mentioned, not rocket science. Somebody fills this out, it kicks off the workflow. And then we have one thing we sort of set up too is like a HubSpot score. So maybe you have like a lead scoring system, right? And so if somebody fills it out, right? HubSpot score is greater than 50. Well, let's rotate it to the team. And then let's go ahead and send the text as coming from the HubSpot owner. Oh, that's kind of neat. Wait, so I can send the text coming from the HubSpot owner, right? I can send it from their particular phone number, and the answer is yes. So if you think about the idea, right, you've got 10 reps. And so based on the HubSpot owner, I want to send the text from their sales message phone number. So if Mike gets the lead, send the text from Mike's sales message number. If Julie gets the lead, or she's the contact owner, send it from Julie's phone number. Or if Susie has the ticket, right, send the text from Susie's phone number, or assign it to Susie. And so it's this idea around, hey, let's make sure that we're sending an SMS based on the contact owner, and one, who is it signed to, but then more importantly, like what the inbox is. So again, you can do this straight from HubSpot. There's nothing magical to set up. You just go here and set an inbox. You just choose HubSpot owner, and then you can choose contact owner, and then voila, right? If you want to do a tag, opt-out message, super simple, right? So that is that. And then, hey, if that HubSpot scores less than 50, right, they're not a quality lead, maybe you want to send a different message or something like that, right? So maybe in this one, you can send a link to a demo, right, to schedule a demo or a meeting, or maybe on this one, you send them to a video that they can watch, right? So like self-serve versus, demo request. Super simple, anywhere in a web form, that's how you do it. It's really, really easy. Maybe you want to add a delay, like a couple minutes, so it looks somewhat natural, but that is very easy to set up as well. All right, let's head over to Engage. And I know we're coming up on the hour. I did sort of set it as an hour and a half. Keep in mind, this is recorded. So if you want to drop off, you got work to do, totally get it. Feel free to do that, and we'll dive in, and you can always go back and get the recording. All right, so let's get to the appointment reminder. And more importantly is like there's some whole other world of workflows that aren't visual here, but like the swipe up, if you want to do a thank you message, like confirmation text, if you want to do a HubSpot notification, so like, hey, when somebody has sent a message, I want a notification inside of HubSpot. Well, you can do that, right? And so in fact, it's a really simple workflow to do. So there it is, right? Occurred after a year ago, right? SMS number is known. Okay, great. SMS received, right? And it can create that notification. So there's a way to get notifications of like a new message received, so your team can sort of get alerted on responding to that. Before we get into the engagement side, let me just give you a quick overview on sales message. So again, with sales message, we can give you a local number, toll-free number. We can provision a dedicated short code. We can text enable a landline number. And so it's a simple, easy way that you and your team can manage conversations at scale. So whether you're a team of 1 or a team of 500, sales message can help across that. Whether you have a sales team, you want to use it for marketing, you want to use it for your customer support team, all of that works on the platform. So saved replies, just think of like SMS templates. So if you want to merge in particular data, like, hey, Dwight, you should do this. And so simple way to send messages. You can also merge in HubSpot properties. So like maybe I want to merge in first name or final deal or whatever HubSpot property you have. You can search for it and then merge that data straight inside of sales message. If you want to send an image or a GIF, you can do video texting. If you want to send a file like a PDF or a vCard, you can upload it and then send it. So we do video texting too, which is kind of cool. Emojis, you can also do short links. So like, if you got a long link, texting is character based. So you just click a button and then boom, we'll shorten that link and just make your text a little bit more manageable. And then on the right here, you'll see that I can assign this to a team member. So like currently it's assigned to me, but hey, you know what? I want to assign it to Mike Nelson, and boom, now it's assigned to Mike. If I want to place a phone call, right, I can easily make a phone call from sales message. I can mark it as unread. I can export a conversation. I can change the status of him. Like I want to opt him out, right? Maybe he says some colorful language that he doesn't want to get text anymore, and I can opt him out, right? Or I can block him. He's just being annoying and it's spammer, so I can block him. And also too, I can just in one click head over to HubSpot. So the cool thing with sales messages, you can stay inside of HubSpot to send and receive texts. So I'm on the contact record. So if I go over here and open this up, voila, like I can instantly start texting him right from here. Everything gets logged on the timeline. So any texts that are sent, received, phone calls that are made or placed, voice recordings, voicemails, right? Call recordings, all of it gets placed on HubSpot timeline. And I can just do it straight from HubSpot. So everything that you just saw over in sales message, you can do over here. I can also toggle through inboxes. So like if you've got a bunch of inboxes, you can have a unified inbox, maybe you have a team inbox. And if you're like the admin, you can actually put users into specific inboxes. Maybe I only want Mary, Joe, and Bill in support, but I need Mike and Bobby in sales. But then I need Mike to have his own inbox, right? Like you can set it all up the way you want. So it's collaborative or it's private. And then the same thing, I can do it from a company. I can do it from a deal. So if I want to send a text straight from a deal record and have it show up on the timeline, I can do that as well, right? So same thing, I can go in here and send a text. I can also do a ticket. So if there's a ticket and I need to respond to it using SMS, cool. Well, I can just do it over here, right? Send an SMS, and then that sales message SMS will appear on the timeline here, right? Pretty simple stuff. But again, it's universal. So anywhere you want to have a two-way text message conversation, whether it's from company or contact or a deal or just the contact record, all of that gets posted on the timeline.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think a common theme here also is just the flexibility of sales message. A lot of times businesses come in with one idea on like how they want to use SMS or MMS. Usually by the end of the conversation, they have about 3 to 4 other ideas. And then once they're in the trial account, they have 10. So it's definitely just an area where you can, again, just like totally engulf your business and add SMS in every single part of it rather than, keep it closed-minded and just add it into one area.
Yeah. Yeah. And that gets back to the whole textize your business framework, right? Like there's a lot of ways that you can use SMS, but like, what's the one, right? Like if we just did that one thing, right? If we just text enabled our phone number, gosh, that would open up a lot of leads, right? Or, hey, if we just added SMS as an appointment reminder, oh my gosh, would that bump it up 20, 30%? Probably, right? In fact, let's dive over to that real quick. So cool. So we've got these other ones here as well. And so engage, right? So appointment reminder. So whether you're using HubSpot appointments, maybe you're using Calendly, you'd have to create somewhat of a Zap to sort of make Calendly work possibly. I think they have a HubSpot integration, but it's really simple. So like, okay, cool. Meeting time is known. And, they filled out the meeting, this particular meeting, the 30-minute one, right? And so however you set up this trigger, you can enroll them into the workflow that is sort of date-based, right? Or centered on a property, right? So, this meeting is October 4th, but that meeting is October 30th. So this is that type of workflow that you would create. And then the next action is, let's say the day of, right? We can send out a text message. Now you can do it before. So like one day before, right? Or the day of at 9 a.m. One of the things that I wish HubSpot did is give you the ability to do hours, right? So if you're capturing the date and time, hey, I want to send it an hour before the meeting. HubSpot doesn't give you that, which hopefully at some point they will. But nonetheless, you can send a text message before, on, after, and it's really simple. And again, using the HubSpot contact owner, you can send it on behalf of that owner, right? So, hey, if I know that this meeting is on Grace's calendar, but it's on Mike's, but it's on Bill's, but it's on whatever, this one workflow can work for the entire organization. I don't need a workflow for every single person. I can just create one workflow that does a simple, automated text to everybody in the company that can drive attendance. And this is what I found the best text message overall. Remember that whole idea I talked about, like tiny text messages, right? Not, hey, thank you so much for booking our meeting. I'm so excited to get to meet you. And those don't work. This message right here is the best, which is, have you ever gone to lunch with somebody and you want to make sure that they show up? So like the morning of or the night before, like, hey, are we still on tomorrow? Hey, we still on today? Oh yeah, I totally forgot. Or hey, can we rebook it? Or yeah, I can't wait. So it's just sort of a confirmation. So whether it's like an hour before or the morning of, right, you're sending this, hey, Chris, are we still on for our call today? Or hey, Chris, it's Grace. Are we still on for our call today? Right. And you'll get somebody to reply back. Right. And that's just a reconfirmation. So like just that one little thing will help boost attendance, boost engagement. And not only that, is like, again, you're sort of keeping this personal channel that's not just like a notification, right? Like if you've used Calendly's SMS notification, you can't change it. And it's so like static. And more importantly, they're using that same phone number for like 80 other customers. So like, oh, I got the same text message from 3 other people from that same phone number. And so even if you reply back to that Calendly SMS, it goes into a black hole. So with sales message, if they reply back here, you can manage that text message straight from HubSpot or straight from sales message, right? From your mobile phone. We have an amazing mobile app as well. So that's that. And again, you can create this one workflow for your entire organization, right? And maybe you want to sort of spin it off and say, hey, let's split test this. Let's split test that message, split test that message, and just get a little creative with the types of messages you want to send based on maybe a team, right? Or based on the type of meeting. Is it a demo? Is it, a lead qualification meeting? Like whatever it is, right? You can sort of create that as well. Okay, cool. So what else do we got? We've got drip sequences. That's a good one. So let's get into that. Are you guys having fun? Is this good? Hopefully you guys are getting some good feedback, some good takeaways. I'd love to hear sort of what your, I guess, number one workflow you want, right? All right, so drip campaign workflow. The idea with this is, hey, look, I need to drip out messages like a sequence inside of a workflow. And then my goal of this is I want them to reply, right? Or I want them to buy something, or I want them to book a meeting, right? Like whatever that goal is, using HubSpot goals, you can remove them from the workflow, right? So let's just say, hey, they filled out this form and, there's a 5-minute delay. And then this text message is, hey, are you interested in SMS for yourself or for your team? This brings up a good sort of segue is, what's the best question to ask when engaging with somebody, right? My belief is to ask a binary question, right? You sort of paint this path for somebody to make, hey, is it choice A? Is it choice B? Like if you have kids It's like, hey, do you want to wear that shirt or do you want to wear this shirt? And then they decide. And so the best question to ask to get an engagement is, number one, a question, not a statement, because a statement doesn't require a response. A question requires a response. But then a binary question. Hey, is this for yourself or for your team? Oh, this is actually for a team. Awesome. How big is your team? Oh, we're looking to do it. Like, you just grease the chute to get into that conversation. Comes from a smart inbox. So again, if we've got all these leads from all over the country, I want to geo match that area code and send the text message closest to their region, right? In Georgia or Florida or whatever it is, we can do that. And then again, let's say, hey, in 3 days, we want to go ahead and send that off. Let me just double check. My battery here is dying. Let me plug in.
While Chris is plugging his charger, I've been chatting with a couple other partners and other people operating at high volume in the SMS space to try to solicit a collection of best practices, things that we've all learned along the ways. And to Chris's point about the call to action that's going to drive the highest engagement being a binary question. One partner that I was chatting with said the highest engagement he's seen from his company for SMS. The question is, hey, is this still the best number for you? And he said that dramatically outperforms every other call to action that they post. But that opens the door for a question. If yes, then drop them through this sequence. If no, drop them through that sequence.
Yeah. And guess what? It's always the best number because that's their number. So that's funny. But that's the whole idea. It's like these simple, just tiny text messages, right? Like if the goal is engagement, if the goal is, to get a response, those work best. So thanks for sharing, Ben. All right, cool. So again, we set this up 3 days later, whatever our response is. So let me just show you where the magic happens, which is over here on goals. So I went pretty quick. If you're not looking, take a look over here. But HubSpot has this whole goal section, right? Which is, when they reach the goal, let's unroll them from the workflow. Oh, cool. Okay, great. Well, let's do that. So we have one here, which is sales message received, right? And it has occurred in less than 7 days. Maybe I want to do it in 12 days or 15 days or whatever it is, right? So you can sort of set this window. I like to say 7 days, so if they reply in 30 days then, or 60 days, then, it might be a little bit old, but nonetheless, we can set that, or we can say, hey, did they become a customer? Oh, they did. Okay, cool. Well, let's unenroll them from this workflow. So for us, we have life cycle stage customer. Maybe you're using life cycle stages in HubSpot. Maybe it's a meeting, maybe, whatever that goal is, you can unenroll them based on that particular goal. Amazing workflow. If you want to drive engagement, set something like this up. Take a look at your business. Hey, you know what? Where can we add sort of this drip sequence to push people down that? Maybe people book a demo or they fill out a demo request, but they never book a demo. Hey, let's add SMS as well as email to drive them to book that demo, right? And so I like to label things of drive to register, drive to attend, drive to convert, right? Drive to book a meeting. And you create a campaign or a workflow that will push them to that goal. And this is a great sort of way to do that. So
we recently actually brought on a customer. I was on a call with them and they set up a similar workflow to route to HubSpot contact owners, and an automated SMS was being sent out with their calendar link. And I talked to my point of contact at the company and she's like, our reps calendars have never been this booked. I think it's just because of how easy it is to kind of be on your phone, see a text come in, click the calendar link and kind of go from there. So definitely very underused in my opinion, and should be used way more often.
Yeah, that's good to know. It's I don't know if I have it in here, but one of the best text messages, if you have sort of cold prospects, right? People at some point they were interested. Break out your own phone and just send this text to them. And the text is, hey, Chris, are you still interested in text messaging? Are you still interested in fill in the blank? Are you still interested in blah, blah, blah? Whatever your service is, are you still interested? You'll get people to reply, right? Hey, it's Chris over at Sales Message. are you still interested in sales message? Like this is years ago. I remember this guy, he used to sell like a ebook for like bad breath. And I remember, it's not that I have bad breath, by the way, I don't, but if I did, I would buy this book. I remember hearing about this, and the guy, his entire autoresponder was, do you still have bad breath? Right. And that was his only question. And guess what? Hey, do you still have bad breath? 30 days works. Do you still have bad breath in 60 days? Do you still have bad breath? Like, you do still have a problem. Right. And so that is such a simple way to like, hey, you know what? Yeah, I totally forgot about it. But yeah, I am interested in SMS. Okay, great. Would love to have a call. Go ahead and book a meeting. Super simple, right? Use it from your phone, whether you use sales message or not. Just try it. I think you'll be amazed at the response there. All right. So mass text messages. Let me show you sales message. So again, we can do calls, we can do all of this cool stuff. We can schedule text messages. So if I want to schedule something for like Saturday, this is a really great feature because like sometimes I'm working at night. Sometimes maybe you're working on the weekends and you just want to schedule something for business hours. Just schedule it here. This is going to go out on that date, and then voila, right? It'll schedule, it'll deliver all your texts. Same way that you can do like scheduled emails. You can do scheduled text messages, really cool. And if you want to cancel it, you can do it. And also you can even set it up. So, hey, if somebody, stops, like if they reply, well, then don't send it, right? So it's a great way to just say, like, hey, you know what, if they do reply, don't send that message that talks about booking a demo, even though we just talked about booking a demo. Anyhow, all right, so let me show you broadcast, AKA, how can I send a mass text message? One of the cool features we built with sales message, and this is actually just talking to customers, but they're like, hey, you know what? I want to be able to send a mass text from sales message to a HubSpot list. Sweet. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let me show you how you can do that. So just type in a name. Now, again, if I want to local message, right, like send a text based on the local number, right, or the closest proximity to that, AKA 561-954 South Florida, right? I will get a number like that versus sending it from, Washington State. You can do that. Or, hey, you know what? I want it to come from this phone number or that phone number, or I want it to come from that toll-free number. We just select that, and then we can select a filter. So the cool thing with sales message is if I want to filter by phone type or status or phone number or, birth date or custom field or an area code or state or, a time zone or a certain tag. Hey, you remember that tag we had, which was like, lead? Oh, cool. Well, let's go ahead and send a message to them. All right. Or, hey, you know what? Let me send it to a specific HubSpot list. Cool. Here's a HubSpot list that's actually in HubSpot called customers. There's 55 people. Oh, awesome. So there's the list. Here's 55 contacts. I can send this now, or I can send this later. And I can send it based on their time zone. Oh, wait. So like if they're in the Eastern time and I send it at 9 or 11, well, it's going to send it at 11 Pacific time. Yep. Right. So rather than sending at 9 Eastern, that's 6 a.m. Pacific. Well, that's not cool. I want to send it based on time zone. So you can do that. One thing is, hey, you know what? Maybe I want to drip out messages. I don't want to send out like a couple thousand. You know what? I really just want to drip out like 50. And, give me the ability to send that out, because SMS gets a crazy response. And if I start asking a question, I'm going to get 50 responses that I'm going to have to reply to. I'm not going to be able to handle it. My team's not going to be able to handle it. So let's drip out a certain amount of text. Okay, cool. So we'll do 25. And you know what? Let's just do it on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Let's run it on 9 a.m. And you know what? Actually, let's track that conversion. So when they book a meeting, I want the goal to book a meeting. Okay, great. So let's say book a meeting, right? Whatever it is. And we also tell you, hey, look, this is going to take X amount of time, right? So let me go over here and I'll just put like 600 a day or something like that. There's a way that we actually show you how long it will take. And so I don't think it pulls up here, but we'll tell you, hey, this is going to take 3 days, or this is going to take 1 day, or this is going to take 2 minutes. right? We sort of show you like the time on that, and that's it. So you can send a broadcast straight from sales message, which you can, again, choose a list, but you got to know, hey, am I sending it to 5,000 people? Well, I can't use that number, right? Am I sending it to 50 people? All right, I want to use a local number, and I want to sort of distribute that out to local presence. So it's all around the strategy and the use case and how you want to use that. But we'll show you the total, how many were delivered, how many replies, how many clicks if you use sales messages short URL. You can also use HubSpot's short link shortener, which actually I think is over here. And now I have an example of this. But maybe you want to use HubSpot's link shortener in your SMS because you want to tie back to a campaign and its performance. And you want to visualize that in campaigns inside of HubSpot. You can do that, right? Just use a HubSpot link shortener as that sort of SMS call to action. So, but we show you all these stats, right? We can click on this. We can go into it. Hey, you know what? Whoa, that's a lot of failed messages. What happened? Well, that's a landline number. That's an invalid number. That's a landline, right? And so we can tell you, hey, look, these are bad numbers or numbers that are not going to get that response. We actually have a cool tool. It's called Phone Checker. And what you can do is you can validate those numbers. So like, let me go ahead. I want to validate these numbers because I want to know, are they mobile? Are they landline? Are they VoIP? Like, are they a bad number? Can I just find out? And so Phone Checker will look up that information and then tell you, oh, cool, that's a VoIP number, that's a landline. So if I try and text this person, they're not going to get it. Why? Landlines can't receive texts. Mobiles can, VoIPs somewhat can. So again, hopefully that gives you some good clarification. Let's go back over here. So mass texts. So a couple workflows here, really simple. So, but I can use HubSpot to enroll people into a workflow to send a mass text message. You know, the thing with HubSpot is HubSpot's your brain for data, right? If they clicked that link and they booked a meeting in 5 days and they're part of that list and this and that or that, whatever it is, HubSpot's the brain of that enrollment, and then we'll roll them into that sequence. Well, cool. Well, I can just create that workflow and then just create my text message. And then voila, right? So maybe I want to send 20% off coupon. Awesome. Use coupon code 20% at checkout, right? And then if I want to create another message, well, great. So everybody that's enrolled that has a number will get enrolled. Now, I could probably go down a deeper rabbit hole, but we actually pushed a lot of data over to HubSpot. So like, you'll know what's the opt-in status. Are they single? Are they double opted in? Are they unsubscribed? And, you know, if you look at the properties, we actually push a bunch of properties here. Let me see, view all properties. So a lot of folks are like, hey, I need a lot of these properties inside of HubSpot for me to run reports and all this stuff. So we have one called sales message ID, last activity date, last contacted date, last SMS received, last SMS date, opt-in date, opt-in status, right? Single, double, opted out, opt-out date, total messages received, total messages sent. All right, so we're populating this information automatically, which then gives you the ability to run reports, right? So there's nothing that you need to set up or workflows to sort of populate this data. We just do it automatically. And then you can create some amazing reports inside of HubSpot to see, hey, how's my campaign reporting? How's my support team? How's my sales team? How's my marketing? You know, whatever metrics are important to you, you can start to visualize that inside of HubSpot. And then we also have some awesome reports and analytics here. So like how many conversations were total, open, closed, how many messages were sent, inbound, outbound, delivered, undelivered, carrier violations, right? We talked about, you know, your messages not getting delivered. How many people opted out? And you can just sort of set filters, you know, based by a team member, by a certain inbox, by a certain phone number, right? An outbound source. Was it from HubSpot? Was it from the API? Was it from Zapier? All right. So we give you all this sort of cool data that you can take a look at and you can see performance. So like maybe if you're part of the support team, You want to see, hey, what's the first time to response? Now we give you probably a lot of data. Like our team is not that good, right? Like 82 days. Come on, guys. So anyhow, it's a demo count. But you can see here what's the first time to response, average time to response, average time to close, and then you can see the team. So like, hey, Pearl, you're killing it because you're literally responding in 0 seconds. Like you're like the best teammate ever. But you can see average time to response, and just as a team start to calibrate and do that. And like I talked about conversions. So one of the cool things with conversions is we can track revenue. So hey, when they click that text message and they buy your product, cool. Well, the conversion value on that is $25. Or if you want to dynamically put it in, you can, like if you're a shopping cart, if somebody buys the product, maybe it's $3.25 for that customer and $489.24 for the other customer. You can dynamically sort of insert that data. So you can do conversion tracking and you can see how well your campaigns are performing. But maybe it's just like booking a meeting. I want to know the conversion on that. So we give you all those analytics there. So let's go to this other one here, which is broadcast to an SMS list. So one of the things I want to show you here is just this, right? So start your trial today, right? You can have your link, or you can use a HubSpot URL. And the way to do that is just type in tracking, right? If you type in tracking URL builder, it'll take you here. You can create that URL, set up your UTM parameters, and voila, like now you can start to track that. One thing I will say about HubSpot, or at least the carriers, is if you use like a Google shortener, they will blacklist that. Like they're not going to deliver that text message. So it's important to note is like if your first initial engagement with a contact is you saying click a link, the carriers are going like, come on, dude. Like, no, like you're not going to just send a text with a link in it. That's super spammy and they'll flag it. And so like, if you're ever wondering, why are my messages not getting delivered? One, be very weary about adding a text on a first conversation. And then number two is the link shortener banned? So don't use a Google one. Sometimes a Bitly one will work. Yeah. HubSpot's one because it's sort of universal, like people are sort of abusing that, that URL. So anyhow, maybe if you can create your own URL, and maybe you can within HubSpot, I would recommend doing something like that. So again, that's around the whole deliverability idea. Now, sales message, actually, we have our own. So if you wanted to create, your own short URL, well, you can do that, and we'll give you a short URL. And ours is pretty legit, like it'll get through, versus a lot of ones that just the carriers will ban, right? So that is that, and 324. All right, reviews, surveys, feedback. I'm going to move really quick here. And I'm going to give you a special offer. If you guys want to get the video training on how to set all this stuff up, I've got a special offer here that you'll probably want to take advantage of if you like these workflows and many more. You can do NPS surveys. You can get reviews, right? If you have renewals, you can set that up. So an NPS survey, if you want to just manually enroll people in here, this is part one. And it's simply asking that question, like, hey, how likely are you to recommend sales message to a friend? 1 through 10. Okay. Well, part two, is something like this. So when that message body is equal to any of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, well, if it's promoter, put them here. If it's a passive, 7, 8, or if it's a detractor, 1 through 6, put them over here. And so each one of these messages are different. Woohoo, we're doing something right. Would you mind leaving us a review? Now you can also include like an image. And so let me just show you what this image is. Yeah, so like I just pulled this from Giphy. And so I just grabbed that URL and then I put it into this, media URL. The thing with the media URL is it must end in must be actually hosted somewhere. You can't just put like, a word, like it actually has to be like a hosted image. So if you want a GIF, just go to Giphy, search for it, grab the URL. You can right click, copy image address. We actually have a whole tutorial on how to do all this. And so, yeah, so mind leaving a review, they click that, they go to your review page. Thanks for the feedback. What do you think? What would it take for us to get to a 10? That's always a good question. Like, hey, we're dropping the boat here. Like, what's missing in order for us to get to a 10? Well, I don't know, whatever they say. And then detractor. What can we do better? Hey, thanks for the honest feedback. Appreciate it. Right. And so that's that, right? We've got this get reviews, right? Again, let's say closed one, right? They became a customer. 14 days after they became a customer date. First, let's check if they've actually successfully used it, right? Maybe we don't want to send a review to a bad customer, or maybe we will actually want to send a review again to NPS. Or maybe somebody that filled out a 5-star review, we want to automate an SMS to them. And like, yep, okay, they're in that list, send this text message, right? Same idea here, right? This actually link will go to like a Google. They can leave a review. It's such a great way to just automate like sending a message to the right people. All right, so I think we went through at least 7. And there's some other ones here, but there's so much more. And a big question I have, would you like a step-by-step video walkthrough and PDF guides of these workflows? If the answer is yes, then I have just a special offer for you. And so I know we're coming up to the hour here. We're more than happy to do walk on a Q&A, answer your questions. But if you want to get a video training, which we're actually still in the works of making it, which you'll get first access once these video trainings that will walk through how to create these workflows according to sort of tech size your business. If you want that, there's going to be also some blueprints, some PDF blueprints. If you want access to this, if you're a new customer, before Sunday, October 16th at midnight, go ahead and start your trial and upgrade to an annual plan before that time. And you'll get access to these video training, these blueprints, once they become available, which should be in the next probably 2 weeks or so. And then if you're an existing customer and you're on monthly, just go ahead and upgrade to an annual plan, right? If you have any questions, our team can support you. If you go to our site on the bottom right, we have a blue little chat. You can talk to our team. If you have any questions, maybe you need to get a custom quote, something like that. Our team is more than happy to help. Grace, Ben, everybody in the team can help with that. And then if you're already on annual, well, then you can renew your annual plan. And the way to renew your annual plan and to actually upgrade to annual is on the bottom left. If you just go here to upgrade, just click on annual and then click on upgrade, and then that will walk you through that. Again, if you have any questions, just click on this chat bot and you can talk to our team. If you are currently on an annual plan, it doesn't show on my account here, but if you go to the billing overview, there should be a link here and it says like renew your plan. And if you click on that, so maybe you bought an annual plan, a month ago, if you just renew it, it's going to get prorated. So like you're not going to have to pay for a whole nother year. So it'll just be prorated and that will lock you in on that. And also too, like we have a 30-day money back guarantee. So if you're not satisfied, just let us know. Now, granted, if you buy a whole bunch of messages and then, go through all of them and expect your money back, it's all based on how much you're sending, right? Like we're not going to give a refund if you use all the messages on the plan. Also too, when you upgrade to annual, we give you all of those credits up front. So, if you upgrade to whatever plan, right? Let's say the annual plan, you'll get 90,000 credits up front. So those will last you for the entire year. And so you'll get those all up front. And again, maybe you have certain questions. Maybe there's something that you actually need, Grace or Ben or somebody else on our team to guide you and put together a custom quote. By all means, just go to the chat bot there. Or if you want to book a demo, if you go to salesmsg.com/demo request, that will allow you to book a demo. Or if you want to start your trial, just go to salesmessage.com, put in your email address, start your trial. And then again, if you want to get access to the workflow blueprints we're more than happy to give those to you. Just upgrade before Sunday night, and we will go ahead and do that. All right, so cool. So there's Grace's link for a demo. If you all have any other questions, or Grace, are there any questions that came up that I should answer? Or Ben,
Ben's
any
been super
questions?
on top of it. But if anyone else has any like last minute questions, feel free to send them in, and we'll definitely get to them.
Cool. Are there any questions from the chat that you feel I should answer that were just sort of top of mind?
There's a lot. So let me read
a lot.
through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me do this too. While you're sort of pulling that up, let me just give some indication or show you folks sort of how this works. So, again, with sales message, you can add members. So each member can have their own number. They can be part of an inbox with other team members. So you can invite those team members. You can set permissions. They could be an admin, an observer, which is sort of just read only. They could be a manager, right? And so you can sort of set those permissions for each individual user. And so an inbox, I'll just show you what this is. So here is, let's just call it the Texas sales team, right? So we've got these team members here. This has one number. Now, one of the cool things you can do with sales message number is you can call forward it. Like you can forward that call. So for example, if you don't want to use sales messages calling and you want that number to forward to your office or to your existing phone number, you can set up call forwarding. So if somebody calls your sales message number, then it will forward over to wherever it goes. Now, if you wanted to just make calls from sales message, you could also do that and then just not forward the call. You can receive them actually from sales message. So if someone calls your number and you don't have call forwarding, you can get the call from the desktop. You can get it from your mobile phone. You can get it from our Chrome extension, from the mobile app, like I mentioned. And also too, there's a bunch of these settings on an inbox. And so a lot of folks were like, hey, one, how many numbers can I add? Well, you can add as many numbers as you want. And that sort of makes it a smart inbox, which then gives you access to local message. So again, if you have a national presence and you want to get local, maybe you need to buy 50 phone numbers, one in each state, right? To sort of at least get close to the proximity of some of your markets, right? If you have a heavy market in Florida, you probably want a 561, a 954, a 305, like, those numbers. So if somebody comes from 305, you're going to send it from 305. If somebody comes from 561, we're going to send it from that. So you can add, these additional numbers, buy numbers, assign numbers. And then also too, you can actually make an inbox like with calling on or with calling off. I know there's companies that are just like, hey, look, we don't want any calls coming in. Okay, cool. So no one can make an outbound call, and inbound calls, we don't want to do inbound calls. Why? Because we're going to forward them to our main office. Oh, cool. So you can set up an inbox for that, because maybe you just have agents that just need to manage texting, not calls. Okay, cool. You can set that up. Also, you can set sort of default fallback. So as a conversation comes in, cool. Well, it's going to go to Adrian, or it's going to go to me, or I want to round robin. So maybe I want to, as new conversations come into sales message, AKA people texting, I want to round robin those leads and distribute them to that team, right? Or I want to assign it based on the HubSpot contact owner. So if Mike owns that lead in HubSpot, well, let's automatically assign it to Mike. Again, this is assuming you have multiple people on this inbox. Business hours, right? There's all sorts of great stuff here. Numbers, your HubSpot integration. I'll go through this very quickly. So you can decide how you want those messages to appear on the timeline. So like every incoming, outgoing call or text, it gets put on the timeline. Or, hey, at the end of the day, can you just like roll it all up and then just put it on one sort of timeline event so it doesn't clog up my timeline event? You can choose to do that. And then, there's all these settings around this. I did go through the HubSpot lists, and here's how you could import contacts on a HubSpot list, right? And so you just go here and say, hey, you know what? Let's add these people, and then boom. And then we'll pull those contacts so you can then send a text to that particular list. You got mapping, all sorts of other fun stuff over here. What else we got? If you are an agency and you have clients, or maybe you're a franchise and you want to manage sort of, you want to have one portal to manage all your different franchises or all your clients, we can enable this on your account. So you can create accounts on behalf of the client, and then you can easily log in and assume those organizations. So it's a great way to manage, multiple other clients or other franchises, or, you just have sort of this main portal to manage that. We can do that with Sales Message. It's actually quite nice for a lot of agencies. I think that's all. I want to be conscious of time. I'm definitely here to answer any questions. Too bad we couldn't get the chat box open up here.
Next time.
All right, so here you go, John. Yours popped up, so you're the lucky one here. I'm going to answer this. I use Integrately instead of Zapier. You do not have a connection yet. It's just a matter of getting an API. Is there some other method? I would reach out to our support team, John. I know Integrately is like a Zapier, but we don't directly integrate into them. But we do have an API, and maybe there's a way to connect over API. I know we have like Make, which is like Integromat, that's sort of on the books. Integrately, I'm not sure where that stands, but we do an API, and so maybe there's the possibility to integrate an API into Integrately. All right, so I think that's it. Again, if you want to take advantage of this, go ahead and just start your trial, upgrade to annual before Sunday. If you're an existing customer and you're going from monthly, upgrade to an annual plan. If you're already on annual, just go ahead and renew your plan. And our team will be notified, and then we can put you on this list. And so once this whole training gets available, you'll be the first one to have access to it. So, all right, thank you so much. Make it a great rest of the week. And Grace, Ben, thank you for participating as well, answering all the questions. So
yeah, thanks everyone for joining. And again, I sent my calendar link. So if anyone has questions or needs follow-up or just wants a one-on-one demo, feel free to book with me there.
All right, cool. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, everyone.
All right, see ya.